Lena sat at her desk, staring at the text message from her mother, her stomach twisting into knots. Dinner at 7. Your fiancé will be there. Don't embarrass us again. The word fiancé made her skin crawl. She had refused this arrangement a dozen times, but her family only grew more insistent. Tonight would be another battlefield, sharp questions, forced smiles, and that suffocating weight of expectation pressing against her chest. For once, she wanted an escape. Scrolling through her phone in desperation, she stumbled on an odd service: rent a boyfriend. The idea seemed ridiculous, even laughable. But as her mother's words echoed in her mind, it felt like her only way out. With trembling fingers, she clicked the booking button. 2 hours later, Lena opened the door and froze. Standing there wasn't the caricature she expected, no flashy playboy, no awkward actor fumbling his lines. Instead, the man looked impossibly calm, with kind eyes that carried a quiet steadiness. He smiled, not rehearsed but genuine, and introduced himself with a warmth that immediately disarmed her. Something about him felt safe. As they walked toward her parents' home, Lena rehearsed what she'd say, worried he'd slip up. But he simply matched her steps, his presence grounding her anxious heart. For the first time in years, she didn't feel like a girl marching into battle. She felt like someone had chosen to stand beside her, not because he had to, but because he wanted to. And that changed everything. At the dinner table, Lena braced herself for the usual storm. Her relatives wasted no time, probing questions, thinly veiled criticisms, remarks about her age and missed chances. Normally, each word cut her down, leaving her fumbling for polite deflections. But tonight was different. Tonight, Ethan, her rented boyfriend, sat beside her. When her uncle joked about her being too picky, Ethan leaned forward with an easy smile and said, "She's not picky, she just knows her worth." The room fell quiet for a beat, and Lena caught herself staring at him, surprised by the gentleness behind his words. When her mother questioned his job, expecting him to stumble, he didn't bristle or boast. He simply answered calmly, turning the conversation away from money and back toward respect and happiness. Each time someone tried to corner Lena, Ethan shifted the spotlight, as if he'd rehearsed this role his whole life. He wasn't loud or confrontational, he just had a way of protecting her without making it obvious. Lena felt a warmth she couldn't name. She had expected awkwardness, maybe even embarrassment. Instead, she felt shielded, as though someone finally understood how exhausting it was to constantly defend herself. Between stolen glances, she noticed the small things, how he filled her glass before she asked, how he listened more than he spoke, how he gave her courage just by sitting close. For the first time in years, Lena didn't feel alone at that table. She felt seen. She felt chosen. Later that night, after the exhausting dinner, Lena walked with Ethan beneath the dim glow of the streetlights. The evening air was cool, carrying the quiet hum of the city. She finally exhaled, releasing the tension she had been holding all night. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice softer than she intended. "I didn't expect you to be that convincing." Ethan only smiled, a little wistfully, as though the weight of unspoken words pressed against him. When they stopped at her apartment door, Lena reached for her phone to settle the payment, but he gently stopped her hand. "Don't," he said quietly. She blinked, confused. "That's the deal," she insisted. "I rented you. You don't have to act kind now." He looked at her for a long moment, and in his eyes she saw something she hadn't noticed before, something familiar. Her heart skipped. Finally, he spoke, his voice steady but low. "Lena, it's me. Ethan. From college." Her breath caught. Memories flooded back, late-night study sessions, a quiet boy who always sat near her but never spoke much, the way he used to linger just outside the library doors as if waiting for courage to catch up. She had almost forgotten. She started, but the words tangled. Ethan went on, his tone filled with vulnerability. I never stopped caring. 10 years, and I thought I'd lost the chance to tell you. Tonight was selfish. I just wanted to be there for you, even if only as a stranger. Lena stood frozen in the doorway, her pulse quickening. Ethan's words echoed in her chest, stirring something she hadn't let herself feel in years. She searched his face for a hint of deception, but all she saw was honesty, raw, unguarded, almost trembling. For a moment, she didn't know whether to be angry or moved. You pretended, she said, her voice unsteady. You let me believe you were just someone I hired. Ethan lowered his gaze, almost ashamed. I know. I shouldn't have. But when I saw your name, when I realized it was you, I couldn't walk away. Not again. I thought if I could help you through tonight, even in a small way, then maybe it would mean something. His voice cracked, and the vulnerability in it pierced through the walls Lena had built. She should have pushed him away, after all, who rents themselves just to get close to someone. But instead, she felt an ache, a recognition. This wasn't a man seeking power or advantage, this was someone who had carried a quiet love for a decade, never demanding, never forcing, only waiting. And when she had needed kindness most, he had stepped forward. Her defenses faltered, tears pricking her eyes. All this time. I thought love was a cage, she whispered. But you made it feel like freedom. Ethan looked up, startled, as she finally let her guard down. For the first time in years, Lena felt the weight on her chest lift, replaced by something gentler, stronger, undeniable. The following week, Lena walked into her family's home with her head held higher than usual. This time, she wasn't trembling, rehearsing excuses, or bracing for attacks. Ethan walked beside her, his presence steady and calm, his hand hovering close until she slipped hers into his. The gesture was simple, yet it sent a ripple of courage through her. Dinner began much the same way, probing questions, sharp remarks. Her mother arched an eyebrow. So, Lena, are we finally ready to settle down with someone respectable? The old Lena might have shrunk back, but tonight she leaned forward, her voice clear. Yes. I am. The room hushed as she took Ethan's hand openly. This is Ethan. He's the man I choose, not because of what he does, or what he owns, but because he's shown me what love really means. Her words stunned the table into silence. Someone scoffed, someone else whispered, but for once Lena didn't care. Ethan squeezed her hand gently, as if reminding her she wasn't standing alone anymore. For the first time, she wasn't defending herself, she was declaring herself. Her family didn't applaud, but that didn't matter. What mattered was the quiet strength rising in her chest, the realization that she had stepped out of fear and into freedom. As they left that night, Ethan opened the door for her, his smile soft and proud. And Lena knew with certainty, true love wasn't about status or perfection. It was about kindness, patience, and the courage to stand by someone, not to change them, but to cherish them.